fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got rhythm, both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up top!
Oh my god! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get involved!
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go!
Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
Sometimes you just got to lick the stamp and send it.
I don't know what happened on there. I just plucked her in first, gave some gen. Oh, fuck yeah.
You are racing with other people. And if you no longer go for a car that exists, you're no longer a racing driver.
We go green for 40 minutes of racing around Monza.
Look at defense by Ethan Grigol, just getting so punchy.
And a brilliant getaway already from Josh Rogers.
Two pro drivers going at it here between Dylan O'Keefe and Nick Foster.
Stanaway's demoted to third. Webster wins week 9 here at Sebring through the final corner. That's a huge slide for Cooper Murray. He's just trying to barge their way through, and that's whoa, that's a merry-go-round for Nick Burkett. Campbell, Paolo Gaon, and Ferraris behind. Glenn Wood actually was flipped into the barriers. One of the most exciting pirouettes I've seen in quite some time. That's Van Gisbergen, and his day is done. Tell you what, if Calvin wins this race, I wouldn't be surprised. He's all four wheels up the racetrack. Wow, but he just saves it on the apex.
Contact almost made side by side through the elevation change, and Scotty McLaughlin has the move done, but he got over the crest. And
What a send!
Dylan O'Keefe sends it up to the inside, can't do anything with it.
Shane Van Gisbergen already on the attack.
It begins and sending has begun.
And it's going to be a drag race to the line. Tuesday night is rapidly becoming a night to lick the stamp. Send it.
Oh, I forgot I was helping commentate here. I was just sitting back in my jocks and
We're ready to just send it around the Laguna Seca circuit in the Pro2 Lite trucks. How much of this track can be completed in less than 4 wheels? I'm sure we're going to find out tonight. It's time to get wild and have some fun for week 9 of Just Send It Season 2 on the iRacing simulation service and brought to you by SimSpeed TV. My name is Ryan Jones and alongside me is Cameron Dance. Jay Kennedy is hiding behind the scenes, making everything run nice and smoothly for us. But we get into this one. How do you actually drive these trucks? Because they're very unique machines to drive. Cameron, how would you do it?
Well, they've only got 3 gears, surprisingly enough, and they've not got a lot of horsepower, and obviously being a stadium super truck sort of style vehicle, they're not exactly got the most grip in the world either, so there's a lot of weight transfer and all sorts of different funky ways to have to drive these cars, so really quite a fun car to actually drive it, but also quite tricky as well to get a lot of pace out of.
They are, but they are such slow machines, relatively speaking, on road courses that it means that you can afford to make a couple of mistakes. They're not particularly pronounced when you do. You can get away with them because you can save the car really quickly. You can use up a lot of the track. I was doing a Pro2 Lite race the other day. I actually found the truck went a bit faster on the dirt or the grass than it was on the track. So see how much of the track and the bits off the edge of the track that the drivers use today. They can definitely take the kink before the corkscrew, turn 6, flat out, which should be quite interesting if someone gets that just a little bit wrong.
Yes, it definitely will be full commitment sends into that little kink, and then also probably full commitment sends into the corkscrew as well. There's going to be all sorts of interesting moments and exciting scenes and shunts. I'm pretty sure we're probably going to see a pile up at the corkscrew.
Yeah. We've got a few big names, as always, joining us for this race. The first one who we're on board with, Matt Campbell. Does he really need an introduction? I mean, GT GC legend in the making, Le Mans winner, Bathurst 12-hour winner, Supercars co-driver at times. He's done it all. We've also got Stephen Owen in here. We've got Justin Ruggier. We've also got George Gutierrez from Toyota 86. There's a few decent, when I say decent as an understatement, there's a few very, very good drivers out there to rub shoulders with the iRacing wannabes, shall we say, Kev?
Yeah, there most certainly is. Obviously, a few names like we've pointed out there at the moment, and also a few obvious iRacers or AusNZ iRacers out there rubbing shoulders, like you said, with these superstars that come from the real life side of racing. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see who does what. We've seen some interesting antics from some of these real life drivers as well over the past few weeks in Just Send It. So, going to be exciting to see what the Laguna Seca circuit is going to throw up tonight.
Certainly will be. We've got just about a minute before we get underway for this race. Be a little bit interesting strategy-wise for this one, because Jay was telling us just before we went live, you can do about 13 laps on fuel. They've got very small fuel tanks, these trucks, which will do about half an hour of racing. It's a 40-minute race. There's going to be a safety car at some point. Whether you can make it to the end if you're particularly kind on your fuel remains to be seen. Should be interesting to see if anyone tries that. Also interested to see how many people roll their truck through the corkscrew.
Yeah, that's quite an interesting talking point, considering the sort of body roll that these vehicles have, and it's one of those interesting corners where there's a big curb and there's also a big drop in undulation. So, yeah, I would not be surprised if we see a few cars over in the corkscrew during the race at some point, if not on multiple occasions, and whether we might see some rollovers as well in some of the slower corners.
Well, these trucks are very top heavy. You'll probably see a car rolled at some place on the track, or in every place on the track at some point today. Before we go through the starting grid, got to thank those sponsors, of course. Melbourne Performance Centre, Erebus Motorsports, JSC Technologies, SimWorks, and the Digital Marketing Tribe for their continued support of the series. And as practice comes to an end, let's have a look at how they line up for today's race. Brendan Dobson, he actually took pole position today. Cooper Webster starts from second. Glenn Postlethwaite and Job Stewart third and fourth. Fourth and fifth. I've missed Blake Purdy, sorry. I just noticed that we've got a pace car up there, so we're going to have a rolling start for this one. Christina Nazarek starts sixth. James Arcudia starts from 7th. Jordan Caruso and Michael Hammond are 8th and 9th. And Matt Campbell starts from 10th.
Just behind Campbell, you'll have Justin Howe and Matt Carter in 11th and 12th. And then Justin Ruggier and Stephen Owen in 13th and 14th. Griffin Gardner rounding out the top 15, the final position in the top 15, followed by Jay Hansen in 16th. 17th and 18th, Lachlan Minoff and George Gutierrez, followed by Konatard and Ben Snell rounding out the top 20.
Michael Rosenblatt will take up 21st place on the grid. 22nd goes to Will Neal. Rob Bowden and Ivan Ventagiato take up the 12th row of the grid. Aaron Dillon, Harrison Dengate, 25th, 26th. Benji Rothberg starts in 27th ahead of Tyler Howard. And the 15th row of the grid is Oliver Shannon and Josh Morris.
And just behind that is even more cars. It's 31st and 32nd, followed out by Jonathan Beckoff and Sam Christian. Daniel Aish and Kobe Williams in 33rd and 34th. 35th and 36th goes to Jake Bonham and Glenn Morris, followed by Brenton West and Daniel Brown, 37th and 38th. And then rounding out the top 40, Paul Nichols and Brad Newman.
The list keeps going. We've got time to go through them all because it is a pace lap of very slow speed. On a 3.6 kilometre racetrack, Simon Ferris starts 41st. Robert Crisdale, Philip Howe, Eden Thornbury, Tim Mitchell, Isaac Edwards, James Close, Dwayne Priest, Simon Black, and Reese Lowe. And the field's rounded out by Ben McMillan. 51 drivers then, all vying to make a name for themselves tonight, get some screen time and pull off some massive sends, most of which inevitably will probably fail, and try to keep those cars on all four wheels.
Yes, they most certainly will be. Obviously, Sydney doing a lot of sends, doing, well, hopefully not too many rollovers, and yeah, just putting on some really good racing, hopefully looking like everybody's sorting themselves out on this formation. Like a couple of lines of cars also having to go single file through some of these corners as well, so nobody ends up making contact or even rolling over for that fact.
I mean, it wouldn't be the first time if you've seen someone get taken out or spin on a pace lap through the corkscrew. Will be interesting because in the race you're not really gonna go side by side through there. Of course, the way these trucks work, as you said, Cameron, the body roll through the chassis means that they lift up their front left or front right tire depending on the corner they go through. With the undulation of that corner, it'd be very easy for that truck to just tip over with the smallest tap on the left-hand side of your door. And the rest of the corners, oh, you've got to be careful. It's a track with no runoff. There's dirt and dust on every side of the racetrack. Let's get this one underway. Pace car peels off, and Brendan Hobson will come out of the final corner. They'll try not to make contact. There's a bit going on there to make their way through. He's going to back them up. The green flag flies, and we're racing here at Laguna Seca. And they are very, very bunched up at the front here as they make their way towards turn one. Cooper Webster is going to come under fire from a freight train of cars on the inside. 4 wide into turn number 1. 3 wide for the lead of the race now. There's trouble at the back as they all go spinning out of control. And they just about make their way through the first half a dozen cars.
Yeah, it wouldn't be just in it without going 4 wide into turn 1, that is for sure. So really, really hectic start. A couple of drivers obviously getting caught up in some contact, but for the most part, everybody seems to have made it through this first lap with hardly any issues.
And we have a car slipping its way across the circuit. Darkoff has gone for a bit of a tumble, as at the front we have a bit of a changing of positions. Brendan Hobson's coming under fire. They're side by side into the kink. It's flat out by yourself. It's not when you are going through that 2x2. Hobson's gone back to 4th. Cooper Webster's still sat 3rd. Postlethwaite's up to 2nd. The lead goes to Blake Purdy, who takes a curious line through the corkscrew.
Yeah, most certainly it was a pretty epic scene through the corkscrew. In fact, everybody's doing it. This is the best part about just seeing it. No rules whatsoever. Just throw it into the corner and hope for the best.
I've got to say, I didn't catch a single lap of practice. That caught me massively off guard. But true just send it fashion. Then, oh no, there's a car going. He saved it. He kept it on all 4 in the end. That was James Katia, and almost got cleaned up by Matt Campbell, who got into him, taking a very extravagant line through that last corner as well, as we go back to the front of the field. And they'll go through to complete lap 1. They're 3 wide again, and the fringe to the top 10. And Katia, very aggressive into turn 1 on the number 20, just in behind Matt Campbell. Who's that? The 18. Big slide in there. That was Jay Hansen getting his nose up there as well. And just about avoids being spun by Jordan Caruso.
Yeah, it's looking pretty busy at the moment in that little pack just inside and just outside of the top 10. It's really all going off. They're bumping and barging, using the panels to their basically what they were designed to do, and really just giving it a red hot go.
P4's looking hot too. Job Stewart and Glenn Postlethwaite rubbing jaws as they make their way through and into the kink. A bit of a touch and a bit of a bump. They'll go side by side into here, and Job Stewart will use all of the track from the inside to out of the outside of the track. Takes that spot away from Postlethwaite. Justin Ruggia's got a bit of a run. Is he going to look for a slide up the inside into the corkscrew? He is. He's going to get into Postlethwaite. He'll go through. Pretty much the only person there taking the racing line was Justin Ruggia. The rest of them shortcutting and jumping through that. I think it was about 5-story drop.
Yeah, they'll probably be about right. It's not a sort of small drop by any means, and with the fact that you're getting a bit of air as well, it's Campbell with a big moment.
Jay Anson's going to be feeling a little bit sore after that hit from Matty Campbell there as they finally complete their second lap. And the reason they are shortcutting this track too, the trucks are so slow that when you put them on a road course, the slowdowns that iRacing give them, they clear themselves. So you can basically take whatever line you want around this racetrack, even if it doesn't involve any sort of asphalt at all, and you'll get away with it. That's why I've seen it today, and that's why I love racing these tracks, the road courses. I wish we did it more because it's so much fun.
It absolutely is, and it puts on some absolutely awesome racing as we're seeing at the moment on board. Brenton Hobson with Cooper Webster right in front of him. You can just see there's like no differential and gap, but at the same time, the ability to just absolutely send it up the inside is immense.
So Blake Purdy has got a lead of about a second and a half over Job Stewart. Cooper Webster's got through into third. And now they're side by side for P number 6. Justin Ruggier trying to slide up the inside of Justin Howe into the kink. Right behind Brenton Hobson. They both lift off on entry. And once again, that inside car able to just slide across in the front and take the spot away. And again, the outside car, in this case, the 78 of Justin Howe, under a lot of pressure from 4 on, onto the straight, into the corkscrew, gets hit into the side of Ruggier. They make it through. Who's that in the background? Jay Hansen and Matt Campbell having a fair old tussle with that corkscrew. A lot of contact made there.
Yes, we've got, grab the replay real quick of Matt Campbell. And speaking of which, it's literally the lap after, straight revenge for Jay Hansen as well, a few corners later. But at the moment, replay on screen of Matt Campbell going through the corkscrew, and just seen as well, we've got a car on its lid at the final corner, but that corkscrew is providing some massive entertainment.
Mate, straight up and over he goes. And number 5, Justin Ruggier, he collects the overpass, and he comes to a rest on that pit straight fence, right in front of the cars that just managed to get around. Take a look at this, Cam.
There was a wild moment on the front straight, and no one hit him. I do not know how. Caruso over in the background, but Ruggier just getting full NASCAR dumped into the inside wall, jumps the fence, rolling down the front straight, and literally hits the bridge as well. That would have probably not been a pretty sight, but you just watch this in a second. There's just cars everywhere, and everyone manages to somehow avoid him.
That was a scary moment indeed. That would have been a bit interesting. Justin Howe has just been turned around as well as by Michael Hammond, who's not making any friends up there. Oh, they're caught 3 wide. Where's the 51 go? 4 wide into the key. That's not going to work. Fellas sort it out. The 43 gets in there too. The 78, Michael Hammond gets turned sideways. Stephen Owen makes it through as well. And Jordan Caruso picked up 5 for the price of 1 there, I think.
Couldn't make this stuff up. That is just absolutely bonkers. More carnage at Corks.
His eyes. That's not a great spot to be. He's caught on the fence. He's done. Let's get a replay up on screen of what just happened there. I think Steve Owen just flat out put him in the fence.
I think it was probably roll first, actually, because Owen just ended up getting drilled from behind. And then Howard just come flying in, slamming into the rear end and ending up in that catch fence.
Well, while all that's been going on, the racing at the front has been somewhat cleaner. Not that we expect it to be clean in this series. It's not what it's about. Cooper Webster has clawed his way up onto the back of Blake Purdy. Job Stewart's got with us with a 3-car tussle separated by half a second for the lead of the race. Matt Campbell's in the background going around the outside of James Katia, and Christina Nazarick wants a piece of this as well. Rob Bowden's trying to make a name for himself in this little group as well. And these are 4 more cars that I don't see making it to the end of the lap.
Yes, it's going to be a big moment for Kutia moving under brakes, 3 wide as well for good measure. Campbell on the outside just going to drive it into the dirt and just hold on to the position. More contact as well. They're going to be 4 wide up there.
Not again, not again. No, hey, there goes the 40. He takes that shortcut. This is quite the departure from sports car racing for Matty Campbell. It must be a lot of fun for him out there to just do something completely different to what he's used to, as we have a new leader out on track as well. He did take that spot away, did Cooper Webster, and so the 17 slots into second. Does he think about a lunge? He does think about it. Into the final corner, he goes for it. Blake Purdy back up the inside, 3 wide for the race lead. The 30 of Job Stewart wanted a piece of it, and the best one of all comes from Cooper Webster, who just used all of the available racetrack and more.
Definitely not shy of using the track limits and I'm just watching that little battle pack with Matty Campbell and it's still going off. There's just cars going everywhere, and I'm surprised there's still panels on the cars, actually.
Yeah, they're surprisingly robust machines. Oh, Campbell! He's trying to give a hit there to Tyler Howard. He's come off second best for it. What about into turn 1? He's taking a very shallow lunge, that one. Doesn't try to turn that 51 any further. And for the first time in quite some time, they're all single file, the top 10.
Yes, it's that would have to be a first so far. We're 6 laps in so far, and finally we're getting some single file racing going on. It's been pretty hectic throughout the entire field. In fact, that top 10 just being an absolute pack of angry little stadium trucks. So really starting to calm down a bit now, but won't last for long, that's for sure, as Matty Campbell throwing it back up the inside of Tyler Howard.
I mean, it's only going to get worse as well when the safety car comes out and they all get bunched up again as the leaders jump their way through the corkscrew. That's a line I want to try out in some different cars. Maybe a GT car. Yeah, that handles it. I have a feeling it's not going to work quite as well, but it would be a bit wild.
Yeah, it would definitely be wild, that's for sure. It would you'd end up with a bit of floor tray damage and a little bit of an expensive repair bill, but it would be definitely a bit of fun as there's still contact going on between Matty Campbell and Tyler Howard. This is just unbelievable.
Yeah, that's one word for it. Another word for it is just absolutely crazy. I don't really know how to describe the battling out there other than it's a lot of fun to watch as Rob Bowden just copped a big whack from James Katia into the last corner as they are 4 wide again. Matt Campbell's just about going to cover off Max Carter. Michael Rosenblatt is trying to find some more spots as well. Campbell seems to be the one going backwards in all of this. He doesn't seem to be coming off as the best driver in all of this. I think he's copping a bit of grief from some of the drivers that might be a bit starstruck at the moment and using them up a bit more than the others, as that's not going to help. There goes Max Carter to the inside, and Michael Rosenblatt's going to try and get to that inside as well, and Campbell gets used up again. Rosenblatt will get side by side with him now. And, Campbell, will he save it? Yes, he can. Of course he can. Steve Owen goes through. So does Ben Rothberg. That was wild for Campbell.
I do not know how he actually didn't roll that. That was proper up on 2 wheels for that time after contact, but managed to bring him back down. And no doubt he'll be back on the tail of this little train very shortly. He hasn't actually lost too many positions out of this either. Started P10, was P10 before, P10 before the end of this lap, so he hasn't lost out too much actually, and the safety car will probably help him even more.
Yeah, probably will. Generally will. I'm just having a look at some of the other battles, even as far back as the back of the pack. Matt Campbell is gone around with Ben Rothberg, synchronized spinning, coming out of the corkscrew, and who just got collected? That was the Daniel Ash machine, the number 33. The 97 of Harrison Dengate just missed it too. Somehow, they've all kept going, and Matt Campbell is taking to pit lane.
Yeah, I imagine there's probably a fair amount of damage to that truck for sure after what he's done to it throughout this race so far. As we've got battle going on at that front, the position second and third's changed again.
And they're side by side on Blake Purdy. Smashes Glenn Plottlethwaite off the track, and Joe Stewart picks up this spot there and bump drafts Purdy down towards what I believe is turn 5. I actually am just bluffing on these corner numbers at the moment. I didn't check the pre-race. And Glenn Plottlethwaite will probably want a bit of payback on Blake Purdy for that one. But he's got a car in the way of Joe Stewart. Big send into the corkscrew might be worth it. I don't know if these guys are actually breaking into the corkscrew at this point. Whether they're just full throttling it straight across it. Have a look.
Yeah, no, they're definitely braking because
they are.
You wouldn't make it flat out, I don't think. Purdy
barely made it. Well, that route isn't without its risks. When you throw at least a ton of truck over a 5-story drop, you're bound to have interesting consequences, as Purdy just found out there. Hobson's coming under a bit of threat from Jay Hansen in the battle for P5 as well. George Gutierrez just lurking all by himself at 6. And side by side for P12, Michael Rosenblatt and Rob Bowden. Well, sorry, Max Carter just edged him out. Steve Owen just in front. They just sort of, caution flies, just as I was about to say, they're just sorting themselves out and settling down. This caution's going to absolutely ruin that.
It most certainly is, and probably, I'd say the entire field nearly is probably going to be pitting on this lap as well. Don't think anyone's going to stay out and try fuel savers. It probably won't work.
A lot of smoke coming out as that was a car on its roof. Glenn Morris, the 48, is just casually sitting on his side in between turns 4 and 5. Can he get that thing back on all 4 wheels? He's trying his best, and he's not going to do it. It was there for over a minute as he tries to get that back on the 4 tyres. Didn't happen. He goes back to the pits. There's a replay up on screen, Cam.
Yeah, that was a spectacular shunt for Eden Thornborough, and Glenn Morris as well. Just looked like they sort of didn't want to give each other racing room, and yeah, it ended in quite spectacular fashion by the looks of it.
Alright. Just coming out of the corkscrew then, James Kutcher is not the leader. I picked him up for some reason. So, none of the leaders pit that time by, which is interesting. Pits are closed, so that's probably why. Just a hunch. Pace car's only just coming out of pit lane now. So, we've got 1 more lap to wait in that case. I think you're probably right, Cam. I think, judging what we were told, they're about 10 minutes short in fuel. You eat up probably about 5 minutes through the safety car period, especially with where it came out when the leaders were on track. Just past that pit exit line, they've had to do a whole extra lap. I think you probably have to pit, I think 5 minutes, which is about 2.5, 3 laps. Is probably a bit too much to save.
Yeah, it's probably a little bit too line ball to try and save that much fuel with, especially the length of this race, and also probably the amount of time you're on the throttle as well. Is you probably don't really get that big of a break to be able to fuel save enough either, because of how little power you've got in the truck, and then how much momentum you're trying to carry majority of the time.
Yeah, there's that point too. Of course, the higher speed the car, the more you can just use that natural speed to just coast into the corners and the like. But these trucks have no power whatsoever compared to most cars we see around this racetrack. So no such coasting will be happening. I think we'll see everyone come into pit. If they don't, I still won't be surprised, because when am I ever right? It's barely ever. That pace car took an adventurous line through the corkscrew. Damn.
It actually takes quite a fascinating line through the corkscrew compared to what it typically should do. It's quite a bit of a wild ride for that pace car driver, doing what pretty much everybody else is doing this whole race so far. So I think they'll probably need to put some new shocks on that Porsche at the end of this race, because it's probably taking a bit of a pounding.
Yeah, it certainly has. Jay Hansen. Jay Hansen, and oh, that's a mess. That's a mess. No, they're still crashing. Come on, guys. At least make it to the restart. That's who's got turned there. The 32 is facing the wrong way on pit entry, Max Carter. At the front, Jay Hansen gave an absolute pounding to the back of Brendan Hobson. Blake Purdy, possibly almost got turned. We'll see whether any positions do change in this pit stop, as I think Hobson just overran his pit bay, and he did.
Yeah, that's not going to help Hobson at all, although I don't think the amount of fuel difference is going to make too big of a change to the order, as I've just seen the likes of a few drive. Yeah, it doesn't really look like, although James Cootie's actually made a few positions by the looks of it.
Nazarek has actually made the most out of all of that. Justin Ruggier had the shorter stops, and Nazareth has come out 3rd? Damn, he did gain a heap. Or she did gain a heap. Net 3rd, and Justin Rougier, where does he come out? He had the shortest pit stop. He's about 10th, net 11th, so good pit stops both of those. 2 cars have opted not to pit, Cameron.
Yeah, the car of Daniel Aish and Simon Ferris opting to not make a pit stop, which is quite interesting actually, with the level of fuel saving they're probably going to have to do to try and make it, and probably have to do a pit stop in the end, so not really going to be too much of a gain. Also, Jay Hansen's gained a few positions as well, being from all the way down just inside the top 10 to now about, I think it's 4th?
Well, Simon Ferris has started 41st. He's currently 5th. I think he's just going with the attitude of, well, if I run out of fuel, I run out of fuel. Why not just have a crack and see what happens? Where is Jay Hansen, I believe? Jay just said he is. It is Jay Hansen, going very slowly. Blake Purdy, actually, is who he said. Where's Blake Purdy, Cameron? I can't find him.
He appears to be coming up to the corkscrew and not actually entirely sure. There doesn't appear to have been any sort of issue. He hasn't blown his motor or anything.
Whoa!
So
he's causing chaos, I can tell you that much. Who was that? Straight up his rear end, Daniel Brown. Yes, strange one. Very strange.
he's not entirely sure what's happened, but he just seems to be not using... Yeah, it's like he's blown the motor, but he hasn't at the same time. Don't think he's got an end of line penalty by the looks of it. Possibly does, though.
How would you even get one of those? That's my question. Speeding the pit lane. Yeah. Oh, was Blake Purdy the leader? He was 2nd. No, so he can't have. Because Cooper Webster was the race leader when he came into pit. And the only time you can get an EOL is if you pass the pace car before you reach pit entry. But Webster was the leader, so Purdy got it. Webster would have for sure. I've got no explanation for that one then. 0.
Unless he sped in pit lane entry, that could be the possible... Penalty. You've got me then. I don't actually know.
Yeah.
Not under safety car, I don't think, though.
Well, I don't know. Well, lights are out in the pace car. So, we'll get this on back underway. Cooper Webster will be the race leader. Job Stewart, Glenn Morris is a laps car just in the way of things. Christina Nazarick then up to net 3rd. James Couture 4th. Postlethwaite. Gutierrez is a laps car. Bowden, Hobson, another laps car. Steve Owen, they're all checking up. That's... could be a couple penalties on that one. As Judge Gutierrez is just causing some pains for the lead lap cars. There's a whole lot of messiness happening in the back half of the top 10. Nonetheless, we get back under green flag conditions. Top 2, 3, 4 are all nice. And then it's just a little bit messy from the outside of the top 10. They're already 3 wide. I don't know how that's actually happened. Ben McMillan and Max Carter is just in the back watching this as they fire down into turn number 1. George Gutierrez getting out of the way of everyone. And they reach turn 1. In the end, all very nice and clean.
It was all nice and clean, and then I did actually see someone roll in the final corner. I'm not quite sure who that was. I think it might have been Daniel Aish, not entirely sure.
Up front, we're staying alive. The 24's just been spun. That was Jake Bottom, who was a lap down. He'll go back to the pits. Where's Matty Campbell? He had something happening. He made it through something, I think. I just heard the director scream his name. And so McMillan's gone for a roll as well. And that's not going to be particularly healthy for that one.
So we'll get a replay of what has indeed happened there. And Looking at McMullen at the moment into turn at number 5. Big send up the inside, and just ended up getting sent straight over onto the tire wall even.
That's impressive actually to end up on the tire wall. I'll give him credit for that. Cooper Webster's coming under a bit of pressure, by the way, for the lead of the race. I reckon he's going to go to big pressure down here at turn 1. Job Stewart's right there in the slipstream, and certainly close enough for a lunge into turn 1. The Andretti hairpin, the double left-hander, defensive, goes Webster. Stewart's going to look for the crossover, but Webster just backs it up, balks the corner, and keeps Stewart behind him. Great defensive driving there. Whether he can do that for another 15 minutes or so is going to be another task in itself. If they keep it up, I reckon Christina Nazarick and James Kutcher might just catch them.
Yeah, they might certainly do, and it'll be no love lost between these two, probably between Webster and Stewart. They'll definitely be trying to push each other as hard as they possibly can, and probably be rubbing panels at some point in the next few laps or so, I imagine.
What about this battle for 16th? Simon Ferris, Daniel Aish, the 48 splits the middle. Glenn Morris, very opportunistic there. Will pick up 3 spots in the space of about 10 seconds. And, well, he won't because he's 2 laps down. But he just made some big enemies in some lead lap cars. Whether Daniel Aish will give him a little nudge in left rear, he won't. He plays very nice and clean, but Simon Ferris and Brenton West definitely came off second best on that one. And probably not best too pleased with Morris for that.
Yeah, most certainly not, but Fossil Slate coming under a bit of pressure at the moment from the 2 cars behind Bowden and Coutier going at it with each other, and Bowden managed to hold on to the position from Coutier. So good move around the outside, but Coutier's going to slam it straight back up the inside, try and hold on to it. Bowden's going to use as much track as he possibly can to hold on to that position.
Look at the leaders once again. It's a mirror image of last lap. This time Stewart doesn't try to go up the inside. Is he just biding his time? Is he going to try here at turn 3? Stewart then curbs the aggression. That's not something we expected to see today. Come on, send it.
It is the title of the series, so come on boys, get out there and just throw it up the inside already.
Because I'll tell you what, Christian Nazarick is catching them. Was about the same, 2 tenths quicker, not 2 tenths, 6 tenths quicker last time by. A lot of time in that truck right now. Side by side for P5, still Rob Bowden and Brendan Hobson. Hobson's got to go the long way around here. Be a brave man to try that, and it won't work. No surprises there. What about the crossover to the inside of the kink at turn 6? He's trying, he's thinking, he's looking, he's there. But has he got enough of it up the inside? I don't think it really matters. And I'll tell you what, Bowden, that didn't help matters. He's used way too much of the racetrack, and he's gifted that one to Hobson. I think he was about 20 truck widths wide through the kink there.
Yeah, but he's going to have the inside for the corkscrew, but Hobson's going to have the inside for the next corner, is he? He's just going to be along up alongside enough. Just Hobson going to force Bowden right into the dirt, and this is going to be helping Coutier as well pull away a little bit, but Bowden's not going to be giving it up here to try and get back past Hobson, as Hobson appears to have just that little bit more pace though.
Stewart got by Cooper Webster, and it happened at the corkscrew. A mistake on the exit for Webster's allowed Stewart to go through. So that less aggressive approach actually works, surprisingly enough. And he now leads this race. See if he can pull away, or whether Webster's got something back for him. Just going back through the pack, trying to find the next battle. George Gutierrez is a lap down, making a nuisance with Harrison Dengate there. And Max Carter and Kobe Williams are bumping and pushing their way into turn 1. And Williams is going to get absolutely drilled by Max Carter. A bit malicious there, I would suggest. Probably a backstory to that one. They'll lose out to Dwayne Priest and Penn McMillan. We've lost Cam. Alright, bye Cam. Come back soon, please. Up front, Cooper Webster's not, well, he has been able to close back in on Job Stewart as they make their way through the corkscrew. And what a replay of them going through the corkscrew. Hopefully Cam's back, because I can't see replays.
Yeah, replay on the screen at the moment between these two heading into the corkscrew. You just see big sends down the corkscrew and really all sorts of sideways down the exit of it. So really not leaving anything on the table, nor is anyone else. So really, really interesting as that mid-pack is actually really interesting at the moment. All sorts going on between the likes of Hammond, Priest, McMillan, and all those sort of drivers.
Yeah, it's this series is so much fun. I want to do this more often. It's good fun watching this series where there's just absolutely no I can't think of a PG way to express that term, so I'll leave that one. No cares given about the rules, the normal rules of racing. It's just go out there and just absolutely ascend it, see how much chaos you can cause, and maybe you'll come away with the race win. Still a close one for the race in between Webster and Purdy. Close battle probably going to be had in the next couple hours. 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, all very close together. Matt Campbell and 10th just lurking on the back of Justin Ruggier as well. Steve Owens in 11th place now. So that's 3 pro drivers, Linus Stern, the first pro drivers of the field. Not faring too well today. Let's go back to the leaders. Joe Stewart is coming under a lot of pressure into the corkscrew, through the corkscrew quite literally, and Cooper Webster almost has made the fence.
Yeah, he's pushing it very hard, using as much of the track as possible, trying to make that corner as straight as he can as well to try and get some momentum, but it's just not quite working.
The Hobson, Bowden, even Rosenblatt is starting to heat up a bit as Kutia runs a little bit wide. It's going to let Hobson get right up on the back end of him.
Cooper Webster's had a fantastic run at Stewart too at the lead, and he's going to go to the inside. Is he? Not late enough on the brakes, might just clip Stewart. Very, very clean between the two of them. Commendations for that. And they'll go side by side into turn number 3. It's Purdy with the inside line this time by, and Cooper Webster is not going to be able to get it done there. What about turn 4? I keep saying Blake Purdy. It's Joe Stewart and Cooper Webster. I'm getting mixed up with the names lately, aren't I, Cameron? It's Courtney Simon last week and Cohen Stewart Purdy this week. I don't know what it is. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting some of the... I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. I'm just going to skip over it because you can take it, Cam.
Yeah, you're getting a little bit confused. Probably done too much commentary actually, but anyway,
Yeah.
The battle for the lead's still going on. But that battle for 4th between Kutia and Thompson with a big cut across the kink, and Bowden's going to be right there or thereabouts, nearly. Hobson going to look to make a move on Kutia at the corkscrew. Not quite going to settle behind for the time being, but he's going to be right there or thereabouts. And that's probably the first time we've ever seen anyone do that corkscrew properly so far in this race.
Deserves a medal in itself for doing the corkscrew properly. Yeah, not many people have done it at all today. And James Kutia is still holding on to that 5th spot, but he's under a lot of pressure. Hobson's close enough for a lunge into the final corner. Goes for it up the inside. Can he take this spot away? Not going to hold it. What a run that Kutia got coming out of that final corner. And Michael Rosenblatt and Rob Bowden are going to be part of this battle very quickly if they keep this up. It's good defensive driving as Cooper Webster just took the lead of the race back away from Job Stewart in all of that. James Kutia is now leading a 4-car chase as Bowden and Rosenblatt have definitely lashed on to the back of Hobson now.
Yeah, they most certainly have. Those two have been battling pretty hard so far in this last lap or so. So I would not be surprised if we see some more position changes between the two of them. And just looking at that pass for the lead between Webster and also Job Stewart, very, very solid pass by Webster on the previous lap at turn 4 as well. So another good move by Cooper Webster, but I don't think that'll last long for the lead.
No, it doesn't seem particularly likely there. Well, the cleanest battling we've seen all day long is at the front for the lead of the race. And they're doing a fantastic job of it as that battle for 5th continues to rage. Christina Nazarick, what a line she's taking through the corkscrew. Oh, up front, Cooper Webster and Joe Stewart are side by side again. Nazarick almost caught them through the corkscrew from about 4 seconds back. Pulled a big gain on them in the end. Absolutely sent it through there. It was a wild line. And these two are going to be careful here because this is going to be a 3-car battle pretty soon. Nazarick's pitted.
That's very interesting, actually. Possibly didn't take enough fuel, or possibly a black flag. Not entirely sure, but unfortunately that is going to ruin her race at the end of the day. But this battle for the lead's still going off. Webster seems to have built a little bit of a gap to Joe Stewart, but that battle between Rob Bowden and Michael Rosenblatt for 6th and 7th is going to be side by side into turn 1, and Bowden's going to do a massive moment into turn 1.
He's gone for the pit exit line, and it's not quite works for him. But kudos for trying it.
It's probably an odd one to take, but good on him for at least giving it a red hot go. To be honest, I didn't think anyone was actually going to do that, but clearly not.
Cooper Webster has got about 2 car lengths between himself and Job Stewart now, as the clock is getting very close to 40 minutes. Won't have many laps left in this one, and the biggest gap between the leaders of the entire evening is right about now. Well, can Webster hold it? Well, he's just taken a normal line through the corkscrew, so that's probably not going to help matters, because Job Stewart's taken the normal line for the night through the corkscrew and gained all that time back.
Yeah, most certainly has, which is rather interesting considering that it seems to have been the fastest way to have gone through the corkscrew by a long shot. So, yeah, I'm surprised Webster didn't actually take the quote-unquote normal line and instead decided to do the proper line, which was... So we've got a replay on screen between Denegit, and that's a moment nearly, well, pretty much getting full NASCAR dump there on the run up to the top of the corkscrew by Daniel Age. Clearly, everybody having plenty of action and wanting to try and gain as many positions as they can, regardless of how it's done.
Matt Campbell has caught that pack of drivers, including Bowden, Rosenblatt, Kritcher and Brenton Hobson. Wonder whether he can make any inroads on it. We've only got, I think, 1, maybe 2 laps to go in this one. He's going to have to get it done quickly. It'll be 2 to go when they cross the line.
Yes. So maybe 2 to go, maybe what? I think we'll get 2 to go based on where the trigger point will be to get the white flag, but we'll see what happens regardless. But you can see Matt Campbell really throwing it into the kink to try and gain on this little pack ahead of him, which is an angry little pack of about 3 cars. Coutier, Rosenblatt and Bowden all trying to catch up to Hobson, who seems to have pulled quite a nice gap as well.
Out front, Joe Stewart, he gives a push to the back of Cooper Webster through the penultimate corner. Into the final corner they come, and he's going to throw it to the inside, diving in on the rears, gets it pulled up. Webster gets a run out of the corner, and Stewart is going to have, I think, 1 more lap to try and get this done. How clean will it be? I don't know. I have a feeling it's going to be all sorts of action between these two on this final lap of the race. Down to the inside he goes, takes the spot away. Webster is now the chasing car.
He most certainly is, and he won't have many corners to try and gain that position back as well, with the limited amount of time that he's going to have, unfortunately. And this little battle pack between Kutia as Campbell's tried to do what Bowden did and probably discovered that it doesn't quite work. So he's actually got bigger issues. Actually, he's towed.
He is. That's a shame for Campbell. This race comes to an end very late on. Webster's pushing Job Stewart into turn 5. Postlethwaite is right there if these two come together. Hopefully we get confirmation that it is the final lap from behind the scenes, Jay, as they head through turn number 5. Cooper Webster, what's he got then through the corkscrew? Job Stewart, how's he going to defend this one? They're going to launch it through the corkscrew. Differing lines between them. Not the right line from either of them. Job Stewart pulls a bit of a gap through the corkscrew. Is it enough? Is it the final lap? I wish I knew. I really did. As we go through the penultimate corner. And Cooper Webster has got one last attempt to lunge it up the inside for this lap at least. Well, he's not close enough by about 3 car lengths too far adrift. Stewart almost found the fence there on the exit of the final corner. And now we get the white flag. There we go. We get one more lap of it. And Cooper Webster's race is not done with yet. Postlethwaite's close to still. It's going to come down to the final lap as one of the lapped cars gets right out of the way. That was Jake Bunham, who's stationary, having a few issues, it seems like, through the Andretti hairpin. Maybe waiting for someone? Maybe. Interesting. Oh, what a battle there is for P5 as well in the background between Brenton Hobson and Michael Rosenblatt, just about not making contact. We'll keep our eyes at the front with Job Stewart and Cooper Webster into turn number 4. Stewart goes to the inside. They make contact. And Job Stewart's going to slide his way through the corner. And this allows Glenn Postlethwaite into the question. He goes to the inside. Job Stewart's going to take the lead away. Was Postlethwaite got here? And he goes all the way to the inside. Shortcuts the circuit. He goes from 3rd to 1st. Glenn Postlethwaite takes the lead on the final lap. And Cooper Webster's made the move, but he still sits 2nd. Stewart goes back to 3rd. What about the corkscrew? Does this offer up any more changes? As Cooper Webster and Postlethwaite use all the track. There's a lapped car and Brad Newman gets in the way. Stewart chops all the way off the back of these guys. Postlethwaite uses too much of the track into the penultimate corner and into the final corner for the final time tonight. Who's it going to be? Postlethwaite on the ultimate defensive line. Stewart with the deep dive. Huge send to the inside. Balks it on the corner. Postlethwaite gives him a whack. Side by side to the line. And it's going to be Cooper Webster who comes out the victorious man in a titanic final lap battle. Postlethwaite 2nd, Stewart 3rd. What a closing lap that was.
Most certainly was. And Hobson had to deal with a bit of argy-bargy from Rosenblatt. And this is going to lose it. That's going to be so marginal. And whoever was parked on the front straight there is absolutely murdered.
Simon Black. I hope he was watching his mirrors, because that would be the fright of his life if he wasn't. He's been collected again in live pictures. A tremendous crash. Oliver Shannon collects him and gets collected as well by another driver, and that was wild.
Jay Hansen just full on sending it full rallycross style with these stadiums like Pro2 trucks, and nearly rolls it in pit entry even.
All right, let's take a breath for a moment and go through the final results here from Laguna Seca. Cooper Webster took victory from Glenn Postlethwaite, who try as he might, couldn't win it on the final lap. Job Stewart came home in 3rd. Michael Rosenblatt came 4th from 21st on the grid. James Kutcher came 5th. Rob Bowden 23rd to 6th, another big improver. Brenton Hobson home in 7th from pole. Cohen Attard home in 8th. 33rd to 9th for Daniel Aish. Dwayne Priest 48th to 10th, up 38.
Yeah, big mover there by Priest to manage to get inside the top 10. Brenton West just outside of the top 10 from 37th as well. So another big mover. Christian Esarak, unfortunately, ending up P12 after having to pit. Jonathan Beckhoff and Ivan Vantiago in 13th, 14th, 15th, Isaac Edwards, Philip Howard, in 16th. And then we go back to Jay Hansen in 17th, Justin Rozier in 18th and 19th. And 20th is Ben Rothberg and Harrison Denegate.
Josh Morris finished 22nd, Robert Quisdale 22nd. Wait a minute. Josh Morris finished 21st. Robert Christelle was 22nd. Tim Mitchell, Max Carter, Simon Black rounded out the top 25. Sam Christensen 26th. 27th was Brad Newman. Matt Campbell only 28th in the end ahead of Kobe Williams and Oliver Shannon. The rest of the results will cycle through on your screen. The rest of the 51 car field. That was a wild finish, Cam.
Yeah, it most certainly was. There was plenty of action, and you could almost sense that something was going to happen across the line, regardless of whether it was for the lead or whether it was for last place. So, yeah, absolutely awesome night of racing, and well, sending as a matter of fact. So, yeah, really hope we can do this again because it just puts it on every single time.
Certainly does. It never fails to deliver every single week, Tuesday night at the same time. 8:15, 7:30 Australian Eastern Daylight Time. The pre-qualifying servers go up to try and make it in to this top split event. And I think that will just about do us for tonight. And we will thank once again the sponsors of Melbourne Performance Centre, Erebus Motorsports, JSD Technology, SimWorks, and the Digital Marketing Tribe for their support. Thank you, of course, as well to everyone behind the scenes for keeping this one up and running. We look forward to the future for SimSpeed TV. And tomorrow night, I feel sorry for anyone that watches tonight. And tomorrow, it's myself and Cameron Dance once again for the Australian Turbo Touring Car iRacing Series on SimSpeed TV. The Xfinity Series on Friday night at Bristol, some short track action. Then on Saturday, a doubleheader, the Major Series, the Daytona 500 for the international region. That should be an absolute cracker. And the Porsche Saturday Night Series, the qualifying series for the Porsche Super Cup as well. Plus plenty more on SimSpeed TV. Make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube and our social channels if you want to stay up to date with everything coming up in the future. But for tonight, from myself, Ryan Jones, from Cameron Dance alongside me, and from Jay Kennedy behind the scenes, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed that as much as we did, and we will see you next time.
Sometimes you just got to lick the stamp and send it.
I don't know what happened on there. I just plucked her in first, gave some gentle. Fuck yeah.
You are racing with other people. And if you no longer go for a car that exists, you're no longer a racing driver.
We go green for 40 minutes of racing around Monza.
Billy, a little defense by Ethan Grigol, just getting so punchy.
And a brilliant getaway already from Josh Rogers.
Two pro drivers going at it here between Dylan O'Keefe and Nick Foster.
Stanaway's demoted to third. Webster wins week 9 here at Sebring through the final corner. That's a huge slide for Cooper Murray. Just trying to barge their way through, and that's whoa, that's a merry-go-round for Nick Burkett. Campbell, Paolo Gaon, and Ferraris behind. Glenn Wood actually was flipped into the barriers. One of the most exciting pirouettes I've seen in quite some time. That's Van Gisbergen, and his day is done. Tell you what, if Calvin wins this race, I wouldn't be surprised. He's all 4 wheels up the racetrack. Wow, but he just saves it on the apex.
Contact almost made, side by side through the elevation change, and Scotty McLaughlin has the move done, but he got over the crest. And
what a send!
Dylan O'Keefe sends it up to the inside, can't do anything with it.
Shane Van Gisbergen already on the attack.
It begins and sending has begun.
And it's going to be a drag race to the line. Tuesday night is rapidly becoming a night to lick the stamp. Send it.
I forgot I was helping commentate here. I was just sitting back in my jocks and